Yep. All right, everybody. So this is our first time going live here on the Hit Stick. We're talking week one reactions. We just got the first week of games behind us, except for Monday Night Football, which we're going to preview tonight. But we got some reactions to week one, as well as a few other things we're going to talk about here. So, Al, why don't you kick it off? Let me know what were some of your biggest surprises from this weekend?
One of my biggest surprises, it was a good Sunday of football, but one of my biggest surprises was Joe Burrow was Joe Biden yesterday. Yo, bro, he looked terrible. What was you're a Bengals fan? What was that?
Okay, so
No, I get the rain, but other football games were played in the rain. It didn't look this bad. It was bad.
well, I will say so. That was I won't say that was my biggest surprise, but I was very surprised. Heading into it, if I knew about the weather, I would have definitely felt like the Browns had an advantage because the Bengals are a well-rounded team, but they depend heavily on passing attack. The Browns, if they can just run the ball and dominate, which that weather forces you to do, and especially with Watson being as mobile as he is, that's an ultimate equalizer for a team like the Browns. But I will say, I remember, and Charles Davis was talking about this yesterday when he was commentating the game. I remember coming out of the draft, they talked about Joe Burrow's hand size. They're like, is he going to get to the 9 inches? Pause. So he was like just barely got to 9 inches. Pause. But they said he doesn't like wearing gloves. And in the rain, you could tell early on the ball, he just wasn't getting a good grip on it. And then he started kind of throwing it a little funny. He just looked all out of sorts. And I know he didn't play much in the preseason, not really a good excuse. I've said it before, the Bengals start the season slow, but that was terrible.
Well, I think he's hurt. He didn't look right. He didn't look right at all. And even though it was raining or whatever the case may be, he's still Joe Burrow, and he's hurt right now. And that might be a problem for Cincinnati because they might catch some early L's from some surprising teams because they're just not clicking.
And that's what I'm worried about because they go play the Ravens next week. And I mean, that's tough. You start off 0-2 and 0-2 in the conference.
Yep.
I know they have the confidence because they've done it before where they started 0-2 last year. Then they won like 8 in a row. But you can't – it's like that team that is always down making comebacks to win the game in the fourth quarter, whether it's basketball, football. Eventually that shit catches up with you and bites you in the ass. And that's what I worry about.
Browns are good. Deshaun Watson didn't even ball out, and the running and the defense held it down all the way for a win. So the Browns are a good team. Deshaun Watson starts balling, there's a problem.
If Deshaun Watson balls, that's a problem. I think even if he makes some big plays throughout the game and other than that, doesn't turn the ball over or do anything stupid, I think they're good because they've always been in this position where they could run the ball. Their defense has been strong, and it's gotten a lot better this past year. They just needed a quarterback that wasn't going to fuck anything up, and that's what Baker Mayfield kept doing. So, and that leads me into my big surprise from yesterday was Baker Mayfield connecting on a clutch third down throw late in the game with like 2 minutes left to basically seal that game, which completely surprised me because I'd never seen that from him since college.
I mean, he looked good. He actually looked comfortable like this was his team. And I don't think since he's been in the NFL, he's looked like that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he felt he was comfortable with his team. It looked like the team was looking to him for a big moment. And even that scramble at the end of the game, you saw that when he went to get that first down? That's the kind of tough shit that people look to in their quarterback. You know what I mean? He starts delivering that, the team's going to start believing in themselves, and that's what a quarterback does.
Well, and I almost think with Baker, he needed to be humble to know, like, and I think he got a little bit of it last year when he went to the Panthers, but he still was thinking he was that guy in college that was so much better than everyone around him. Now everybody else is probably better than him, so he's got to play within himself. And I think maybe the Buccaneers give him the system to do that because he thought he's not playing hero ball anymore, So, but who knows? He gets a couple wins under his belt. He gets gassed up and starts throwing some dumb shit again.
Yeah, but he could play. He could play, and a lot of times I think a lot of these players they just don't find the right system, and then they just fade right out of the NFL. This might be a system for him to flourish. Let's see what he can do here. And if this don't work out, then you know what? He was the man in college.
He's done. Exactly. Johnny Manziel, part 2.
Yeah.
So now we're going to be dropping over the next couple of days our preview picks for each division, our commentary on each conference, each division within the conferences. We're going to drop that this week. But I was watching it today as I was editing the podcast, and you said this might be the year that the Giants pass the Cowboys. So I want to see what you think about that now.
Yo, you know why? Because I live in New York, and I get all these stupid notifications from New York pages and newspapers and media. And in New York, we all know that the media is full of shit. And they were telling me that the Giants are coming full throttle. That's what they were telling me. They look great in camp. It's a new system. Daniel Jones, this is the year Daniel Jones turns into Joe Montana. That's what they were telling us. And I believed it. And nah, they didn't even belong in the same stadium. I think Colorado and Deion Sanders would have did better than what the Giants did yesterday. The Giants or an NFL, bro. That wasn't even an NFL team, the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, it was ugly. And I mean, I worry about Daniel Jones always fumbling more than anything. And he had 2 fumbles again last night. So,
yeah. All my boys are Giants fans. All of them are Giants fans. I like the Giants, but I'm not a Giants fan. You know what I mean? I mess with the Giants. I like the Dolphins, but they were all saying it's the Kith curse. I don't know if you saw Kith drop the whole Giants collection. They got it's fire. It's fire. It looks dope. They did like giant jackets. They had what's his name? Cruz. They had Cruz.
Yeah.
They had him modeling. He had some fly shit on. And then they did like jerseys. They did Eli Manning, that sold out right away. They had Phil Simms, which is exclusive. They had Mark Bavaro. That was a dope one. That's for the D's uptown too. They were wearing the Mark Bavaro kids. And they dropped it. Shit is fire. They dropped it on opening day. And now everybody's calling it the Kid Curse.
The new Madden curse, the Sports Illustrated curse.
Yep.
Oh man. Well, I will say, one of my questions coming into this season was how was the Dallas defense going to be able to replicate what it did last year? Because obviously Micah Parsons blew it out, and so did Diggs. I think if things hold the way they did last night, that defense is in good shape.
Well, what did the coach say? The coach said, in all my years of coaching, I've never seen a team bring the defense from the season before into spring training or preseason into the next season right away. He said this is the first time he saw that same intensity that they ended the season with. Everybody came into preseason just like that. So they could end up being one of the best defenses ever. They could be on some Baltimore Ravens type shit with Ray Lewis, Michael Parsons is Ray Lewis.
From Chicago Bears 85 defense, which, speaking of the Chicago Bears, so I got to throw this out there, because you're talking about how the local media can create that bias. I think Bears fans were really starting to believe that this was going to be a competition this year. The NFC North, Justin Fields was going to jump up, and they brought in receivers. He finally got the weapons he needs. In fact, so much so that I'm in this one survivor pool, me and this guy that I know from Chicago. We get 10 teams in it every year, and we'll come back to Survivor in a little while. I always make the picks. We always do well. I make most of the picks. Last year, he fucked it up because he went to Vegas. He got drunk. He didn't get all our picks in. We were down to the last 1% out of 75,000 people. Didn't get the picks in, slept in, and we had 4 teams left or 3 teams left. Blew the whole thing. Now, yesterday, I gave him 10 picks. And I was I texted him after the first round of games. I'm like, yo, we got all our teams.
Go back to the story. He got drunk and they didn't get the picks in on time at 1 p.m. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, so he got passed out drunk and he was hungover and he didn't get the picks in. So he doesn't do cocaine. He doesn't do. Oh,
No, not that I know
picks
of.
would have been in at 7:30 a.m. The picks would have been in.
No,
So
not that I know of. I don't know. I don't know what he was on. I think he was just
oh,
drinking. I wasn't there,
I
but
know he
he was
doesn't do
supposed to.
coke, bro. Those picks would have been in at 6 a.m. when the sun was coming right at dusk.
Right when trading out when the trading hours start. Yo, you know what he did? And he was sheepish, right? Because I texted him, I'm like, yo, we got all three of our picks. We got, we're down to the last few people, a couple hundred teams, and we got three teams left. And he was like, no, didn't respond for like 48 hours.
That's how you
And
know.
then I was like, what happened? But anyway, yesterday, so I gave him our 10 picks.
How much was the pot? How much was the pot? 75,000 teams.
Yeah.
So what's the pot?
No, I'm sorry. It's 7,500 teams and $75,000 pot.
Oh, $75,000 pot. Oh,
yeah.
Hit. Yeah.
It's big. So anyway, yesterday I gave him 10 picks. I was like, I want 3 on this team, 3 on this team, 2 on this team, 2 on this team. It was all first round games. We won them all. I texted, yo, we're good. First 10. Because usually week 1, surprisingly, because week 1, you never know what's going to happen. Who's going to come out rusty out of like the Bengals yesterday. And you see like 50% of the field sometimes is out. Like last year, 50% of the field was out week 1. So I gave him the 10. I'm like, yo, we got all 10. This is great. And he texted me and he's like, no, I changed it. I put 2 on the Bears. And I was like, why on earth would you take the Bears?
Wow.
Nothing's proven yet. But again, the media, oh, we got more. We got this one. We got Claypool who did nothing. He was sleepwalking out there. So I'm pissed about that.
Yeah, Claypool had a little burn, I think, with Roethlisberger, a couple of 50-yard bombs. But if you're not coming with a Roethlisberger arm, Claypool is just another, he's just another guy that just runs a fly route. That's all. You got to hit him.
Exactly.
Fields impressed me. He's similar to early Russell Wilson because he gets out of jams. I'm thinking he's going down and he gets out of that. So he's swift on his feet. He looks good, but I don't know what's up with that offense. I don't think they have enough weapons. And then DJ Moore, didn't they give a first overall pick up for DJ Moore?
I believe they gave a first rounder.
I kind of think they might have said it was a first overall pick. I could be mistaken, but regardless, they're going as hard as they can to give Justin Field weapons for this year. You know what I mean? And I don't think they got enough. They don't have. They need a playmaker. They need a real, not DJ Moore. They need Tyreek Hill. They need a playmaker.
Yeah, I mean, I think they came into the season hoping to compete for second place. I don't think that's out necessarily, but I think everybody got a little too excited that they made more of a leap than they had. So big surprises. We talked about the Bengals, just the Browns looking so good. I won't say surprised. I won't say blown away or anything, but I was surprised by the Rams.
Oh yeah, I thought they were gonna be horrible, and I thought the Seahawks were gonna be good.
Yeah,
I thought they were. So
and to have 200-yard receivers, age 23 and under, I don't know that they're going to be able to keep that up. But Matthew Stafford still has something in the tank, man, and they got some other pieces.
Yeah, he's not hurt. You could see he's healthy. You could see he was moving. Last year when you seen him moving around, he do a play action and it was like a stumble, a wobble. Like he didn't look strong on his feet. Now he looks strong on his feet. He's setting his feet. He was shooting bullets. He looks good. Stafford's just I always like Stafford. Stafford's a quarterback. He was just stuck in Detroit. But he's the real deal. If you would have gave Matthew Stafford to Bill Belichick, you know what I mean? If he didn't have Tom Brady, forget about it. That would have been breaking.
And the thing is, I mean, Sean McVay is a good enough coach offensively that with a Matthew Stafford, he's going to make other players around him better. He's going to run schemes that are going to help that team be competitive. So I think they're going to be in it for, running up for second place in that division behind the Niners. Those were my surprises. I wasn't too surprised by that Lions-Chiefs game. I don't know about you. And mostly I'll say that because once we found out they had, leaders on both sides of the ball that were going to be missing the game, I am still a little bit surprised that the Lions on the road in Kansas City against Mahomes were able to pull it off. But had it been in Detroit and that would have been the outcome, I wouldn't have been as surprised. But that's tough to win on the road like that against a Super Bowl champ, even if they're down a couple of key pieces.
Yeah, but this happened, I believe it was the first game of last season, or it might have been the season before that. It was opening day with Kansas City, and they took a L. Kansas City doesn't start off fast. You know what I mean? It's all or nothing, that game one for Kansas City. But the problem was, as soon as they lost Kelsey, they had nobody to go to. All them other guys is trash. All them other guys is trash. No matter how you want to cut it and slice it, oh, this guy's fast. They're trash, bro. Once they lost Tyreek Hill and then Kelsey goes down, he had nowhere to look. You see, they were making fun of cement hands, bro. You see,
maybe it's Tony,
yeah. Cam had AB on the show saying, look, I got AB right here. He doesn't drop anything. And AB was like, he said, what do you think of Kadarius Toney? AB was like, I saw Butterfingers. You know, and like Kadarius Toney, that was one of them led to a pick six. Okay, one of them was like a 30-yard pass that they needed a first down. So to me, bro, I don't know. You know how LeBron soaks his hands in the powder and Kadarius Toney is running his gloves through Crisco oil. I don't know what he got. Nothing, bro. I'll be if I'm Mahomes in any key situation, I'm not throwing it ever. That's bad. That's bad for a quarterback not to trust you like that.
No, that's true. And I mean, hopefully there's enough. I mean, I don't like the Chiefs, but I never want to root against someone like that. Like, I hope he can turn it around and hopefully he gets enough confidence back in practice that next time he's not having those problems. So, biggest disappointments, Giants were obviously a big one. Bengals were a huge disappointment, especially for me. The Bears, I think, were disappointing just because I think they were expected to make more of a jump. And actually, I think the Eagles, Patriots being a one score game, being a one score game was just very surprising,
They had trouble. To me, that was Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, he knows how to craft a game plan that's going to keep you, off balance. And he came out throwing with Mac Jones, which you don't think that's going to happen. He was throwing downfield, Mac Jones, and he was catching Philly off guard. And then all of a sudden, all that ball movement that Philly was doing slowed up, and they just started kicking field goals. That's all Belichick was giving them. He was giving them field goals, and then it was almost like Belichick was saying, "I'll give you the 3, but I'm going for touchdowns," and that's what happened. Philly had to kick like 3 field goals, and they answered with 2 touchdowns, and they were right back in it. So that was surprising.
I like Mac Jones, man.
I gotta see if, like I said, for this specific game, it might have been like just to keep you off balance kind of shit. I don't see Mac Jones. I don't know if Mac Jones is going downfield all season. I got to see more of that. You know what I'm saying? But it was a good performance by them. But I want to talk about the Titans, bro. I want to talk about them.
That fits into the category of exactly as expected.
Yo, my man was texting me because we got the group chat with fantasy football. So he texted me. Yo, Ryan Hill sucks. I already knew what he was talking about. He's so flustered that he's not even writing Tannehill. He just wrote Ryan Hill. I knew. And Red Zone happened to have that game on at that moment, so I knew what he was talking about. Yo, Tannehill has no finesse, bro. It's like he's he's got anxiety, stress. It's hype, and then he throws a missile. Sometimes there's got to be a touch pad. You got to have a little finesse. Him is just boom, boom, boom. And what happens when we're quarterbacks like that? Same with Deshaun Watson. It starts hitting helmets, ricocheting, the balls, and that's Tannehill. Tannehill's just, it's hype, and then he throws a super bullet, and anything can happen with that. It can hit somebody in the back, the chest, the ball goes. So to me, he needs to calm down, and turn a little. He has the finesse, but like stop getting so bent out of shape and crazy. Cool it down.
Well, I'm gonna second that with the Titans in the as expected category because I said this in our preview. Derrick Henry, the first like 6 games every year is like 15 rushes, 60 yards, 17 rushes, 58 yards, and then the second half of the season it's like 15 rushes, 280 yards. But he did it again yesterday. I think it was like 15 for 63. Like it's not the Derrick Henry we think of, but these are the Titans. They're boring.
Yeah.
Tannehill's going to throw for 156 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions,
Yep.
and every game's going to be close. Even though, and they're not going to do anything with Hopkins. I think Hopkins had like 7 catches for 65 yards. 7 catches is good. 65 yards is not what you expect from Hopkins.
Yeah, I mean they hit Henry with a screen pass. He took it downfield like 50 yards. Where is that? That's what they need more of. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They need to stop because as far as Tannehill going downfield, he could do it. He can go downfield. But I guess the strategy was quick, short passes like to Hopkins. But you got to mix in Derrick Henry. Once he hits the open field, he's a problem. When he starts moving, and that's what happens. I think by game 4, game 5, I think they start feeding him more and more and more. But they should do it from week 1. Start now.
The other one that I think I wouldn't say it was a surprise. It was kind of as expected. That Falcons-Panthers game, I mean, I think it could have gone either way, like heading into that game. But the Falcons did kind of what I expect them to do all season, and I don't think it'll get them a lot of wins. I think they'll be a pretty bad team. But like Ritter was like 15 for 18. He's not going to throw a lot. They're going to mix in the dual threat thing. His passes, he's going to average like 5 yards an attempt. Not going to throw the ball downfield unless it's to Pitts. But Pitts yesterday, I think, only had 2 catches. But then you got Robinson, and they mixed him in, getting him the ball in different ways out of the backfield. He had that one play where I don't know if you saw, he made like 3-4 dudes just look stupid on the way to a touchdown. So they got the win. I don't expect them to get many, but I think a lot of their games are gonna look like that.
I mean, they're rolling out the new quarterback. Like Ritter, I was laughing because Ritter and C.J. Stroud yesterday, they both just like their first starts. They both did within 5 minutes. They did the play that I always laugh about. They threw the bullet and it hit the offensive lineman's helmet, and they're both like,
"Yo, don't catch it, knock it down."
Think about that. You're a rookie. This is your first start, and that's the shit that happens in the first quarter. You hit a helmet, and you're sitting there like that. You don't know who's running at you.
You know what? In your head, you're like, "This is that moment. I'm gonna catch it and run it 60 yards for a touchdown and blow people's minds." And then you touch it.
Or he's saying, "I'm gonna die." I'm gonna die. What the fuck? So, but they got those out of their system. It seemed like Ritter settled down a little bit. And then, like you said, Bijan started helping him out. So it's going to be ugly games, bro. They're rookies. Anthony Richardson looked good. The rookies, you got to see. You got to give them time. Bryce Young looks 15 years old. Like, he needs to put on some size, bro. Like, Khalil Mack's going to eat him. Pause. Like these guys, these defensive linemen, Bryce Young needs to stay out of trouble. Don't get hit.
So in the AFC West battle, Sierra's husband loses out to Mia Khalifa's boyfriend, as you put it the other day.
That's Mia Khalifa's boyfriend.
Jimmy G with the win. I don't know if Raiders fans should be, because this goes out to you, I don't know if the Raiders fans should be getting excited about this, because it wasn't pretty, and it was against the Broncos, who weren't so good last year.
Nah, that was a messy game. You hope Russell Wilson could do something. I root for Russell Wilson, but I kind of think he's finished. He fell off a cliff a little bit. Sorry to say. And then Jimmy G. I mean, they moved on from Carr. And now maybe they're going with a different kind of system. They got Jimmy G that, he's coming in. He's like the hunk. You know what I mean? That's how he's coming in. He's like the jock. And I guess They're not going to ask him to go downfield crazy. He's more of a field. To me, he's a field general, and they're going to just change their style of play. And then you see the Raiders change it to that, and then you see the Saints change it to that. Which I think is a better situation for Derek Carr.
I completely agree. I think that the thing that we saw this week, and it's like this is the classic let's not overreact type of situation, but if what we saw in the first week holds for the season, the things that are going to have impact. I think if Jordan Love plays well, that changes the complexion of the NFC North because we both picked the Packers last. And that was assuming Jordan Love was going to come in and not be that good. If he comes in and he's good, they might be in second place behind the Lions because the Vikings don't look good and the Bears don't look good. So the Packers might be able to pull that off.
And their defense played good. Their defense looked pretty damn good yesterday.
Yep. So, the other one is obviously if the Dallas defense can stay together like that. Anthony Richardson, we'll see if he can kind of – I think he's going to have his ups and downs throughout the season, but I think he's going to be electric. I think he's going to have them in games. I think it's going to be interesting. So let's talk about the game of the week. I love the Chargers. You're a Dolphins guy.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a game.
That's to me, those are the games I like. Those are the games I like. I like I appreciate football. I appreciate running, game of inches, defense. I get all that. I want to see a shootout, and that's what I saw. Those are my games. So they got busy. Tua, as long as Tua don't get smacked around, Tua was playing Madden out there, bro. Tua was playing Madden. He was driving me crazy because he's doing a lot, but 3rd and 2, he's going downfield 35 yards. You know what I'm saying? He's playing Madden.
Yeah, but you know what? I will say that game where he came in the national championship in the second half when Hurts was just not playing his best, he is so good at making that throw on that fly, that streak down the sideline where someone gets just beyond. He nails that throw, and he hit Tyreek Hill on one of those yesterday. Perfect. At the perfect spot that only Cheetah could get to it. And I saw it a couple times yesterday. We saw him do it a lot at Bama. That's his patented throw. Lefty on either side to that guy just beyond. He throws that as well as anybody. And I think when you're thrown to a guy like Cheetah who's going to get you the space and you have a little bit of room for error because Cheetah can run by you, but he's also a guy that can come back and get up for the ball. He's made a lot of those catches. So they're going to be a problem. But what's so fun about the Dolphins is, man, it felt like every play was 17 yards. They didn't feel like they had 2-3 yard grinded out. Every play had the potential to be a big play and at least 17 yards, and they were throwing it all over the field.
Yeah, for sure. Now, to me, Tyreek Hill, that's my fantasy team, by the way. I got Tua to Tyreek. But to me, Tyreek Hill is the best wide receiver. I don't know, best player in the NFL. You got guys that got Justin Jefferson. You got all that. I get it. But my first pick in fantasy in the first round, I had the number 9 pick. I don't know how it got to me, but I took Tyreek Hill. Bro, he's electric. He'll shut down any game himself. 250 yards, 3-4 touchdowns is not out of the realm of possibilities for him. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy.
Yeah, he's the best.
I think as a Chargers fan, I'm walking away from that, and I got mixed feelings because one is the Chargers look good. Eckler looked great. They did all the things well that they always do well. They scored points. They were in it.
What'd you think about Herbert?
Herbert's a stud, man.
Yeah, he missed some throws. He missed some.
It's all right. I mean, it's going to happen. First game of the season, whatever. But I will still say, he didn't have 350 or anything like that. Those games will come. I still think, it was still good. And the only thing, I think that game, they were playing what arguably will be potentially one of the best teams in the NFL this year with weapons. They gave up points, obviously, but they scored. They did what they've done a lot the last few years. And the only thing that really could get in their heads, and as a Chargers fan would concern me, or does concern me, is they chargered. They charge it, right? Usually they got a big lead, just like they blew it with Jacksonville in the playoffs last year. and they blow it. They got a history of doing that. Last night wasn't like it was a big comeback by the Dolphins, but they came back. And then the Chargers, like, you want to see them get downfield and get in position to win that game, especially after that missed extra point that gave them the opportunity to win on a field goal. And it's like intentional grounding, 2 sacks. It's like 3rd and 600. Like, that's what concerns me is, granted, I think Herbert has had like 13 fourth quarter game-winning drives, fourth quarter and overtime in his career, and he's still young. But that last night, that's got to put a little something in the back of your head if you're on that team. Hey, we were ready for this year. We came out. We were shooting it out with one of the best teams in the NFL potentially, and we still did what we always do.
Yeah, didn't they have like I don't know, they had like a long run where they were like, I don't know, 7-7, only decided by 2 points, some shit like that, right?
Oh, yeah. It was they'd have like 9 games, but decided by like 2 points. Yeah,
and that's tough. That's tough because anything can happen in football. So when anything can happen in football, you don't want 2 points to sway the pendulum. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you want to have those cruise control games where you're running the clock out. You got a couple score lead. They don't do that. They don't.
Yeah, their coach is only 40, but he might have a heart attack by 41.
Yeah. But that's the kind of games I like to see, bro. To me, that's like Peyton versus Brady. You know what I mean? Those are those shootouts. And that's what this was. That's football to me.
So who are you picking tonight? Bills, Jets? What's your take?
Yo, I'm going to tell you right now. Everybody's jumping on the Bills, that the Bills are going to make it happen, which they can. They're a good team. But guess what? The Jets can beat them. The Jets can beat them. It's 9-11. You know what I'm saying? It's 9/11. These dudes come out here. They come out with a little extra oomph, a little extra meaning. You know, even though Buffalo's New York too, but it's like a different kind of New York. And the Jets are really Jersey. The Jets are Jersey, but it's weird. It's hard to explain. But the Jets are
more New York than Buffalo somehow.
Yeah, more New York City than Buffalo. But yeah, the Jets could definitely win. The defense is there. Obviously, we're all tuning in to see Aaron Rodgers' performance. We all want to see what he's going to do. We all know he's that guy. And Dalvin Cook, he's going to run tonight. I'm waiting for Breece Hall to heal up because I think they got a super weapon with Breece Hall. Garrett Wilson, we want to see, is Garrett Wilson Devontae Adams? Can he make him into Devontae
wide receiver 1? Yep.
Yeah, let's see. And then on the Bills side, the Bills, Josh Allen, we all know he's the man. Diggs is the man. You know, James Cook, I still got to see more. I got to see if he could lead the charge. I mean, Harris was a good pickup for them. You know what I mean? Just in case things get shaky, he's just solid, go downhill. Go, damn it. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. I'm going to take the Jets. It's right here. I'm looking at it. Bills giving up 2 points to the Jets. So it's less than a field goal. That's the spread. That's about where I see this game going. It's a field goal win in either direction. So
yeah, so I
got the Jets. I got the Jets winning. I would say the Jets winning just because the spread is Buffalo by 2. I'm gonna say I got the Jets winning by 1. I think it's a field goal last second.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers runs that down the field.
I'm tough because it's tough. I could see it either going 27-24 Bills or 24-20 Jets. Like, I feel like the Jets defense is so good, but here's what messed me up. I was kind of like starting to back off the Bills a little bit, even though I picked them to win that division. I was starting to back off them a little bit because I was like, man, they're not sexy. There's nothing like, there's no Tyreek Hill. There's no Aaron Rodgers. Like, Josh Allen obviously is Josh Allen, but he's like a meat and potatoes. Like, you know, he's been doing it for a couple years, Paul. So you just kind of like, you forget who else is around him. And Diggs was new last year. But like, you even talk about their offseason this year and you're kind of like, okay. But here's what I will say. I was playing Madden in my Madden franchise the other day. And I played the Bills, and I was like, yo, their defense, everybody, like, it seemed like everybody had stars all around them. You know, they give the stars to, like, the best players. And I was like, oh shit, this defense is still stacked. I forgot how good they were. And man, it was tough to complete a pass. It was tough to run the ball. They're much better on defense than I was kind of even giving them credit for. So I think Rodgers is going to score. He's going to put points on the board. I think Josh Allen is. It's just a matter of, almost who has the ball last, because both those guys, I think if they get the ball last, have a chance. And it's either going to be, 2017 Bills are leading and Aaron Rodgers leads the Jets to a 24-20 win, or it's like 24-20 Jets and Josh Allen leads them to a 27-24 win. So, or 27-20 win, or 24, whatever. So I don't know, but if I had to make a call right now, it's in New York, right? In our Meadowlands.
It's in the Meadowlands, and the over is 44.5. So there's your 24-20.
All right, so I'm gonna go Jets 24-20, even though I still got the Bills winning the division.
Jets 24-20.
Yep. I'm getting sunblasted here. Hold up.
20. So you got the Jets 24-20?
Yep.
I got the Jets. 20. I told you at one point, I'm gonna say
23.
27-26. I think it's gonna be a wacky game. A couple of kickers miss extra points nowadays, and then and people go for 2-point conversions. So I'm saying 27-26, last second field goal. Aaron Rodgers brings the Jets down. So win.
All right. So last topic here on your end, fantasy football. How'd you do?
Yo, listen, man. I don't like. To me, it's social media. Everybody's always so braggadocious and all this bullshit. And I don't really brag. I like to be humble. But bro, I got 4 fantasy football rings in the last 10 years, though. In a serious, high competitive league with a bunch of bozos that think they know what the fuck they talking about. Like, dudes don't want to trade with you. They only want to rob you. If it's not a rape trade, they don't want to trade. But dudes are doing their homework. Everybody's doing their homework. And everybody's trying to dominate and talk shit. So the group text is rolling. Everybody's talking shit. And I got 4 of those 10 rings. 4 of those 10 seasons, I got 4 rings. So I drafted this year. And like I said, this year I drafted a masterpiece, bro. I got Pollard on my team. I got Pollard. My first pick was Tyreek Hill, of course. Second round, they let me steal Pollard. I don't know why they let me steal him. But it's a 2-quarterback league. So I waited on quarterback. But once I got Tyreek Hill, all I had was Tua in my sight, scooped up Tua. I had Tua. So I got Tua to Tyreek, always stacked. And then on the back end, I took Sam Howell to Dotson. So if that shit flourishes, later in the year as they build a rapport, Tua and Tyreek already got a rapport. Now, Sam Howell and Dotson get a rapport where it's bombs away on both sides. I'm hitting you with a double on both ends, 2 quarterbacks. So,
and who's your defense?
My defense is the Jets. The Jets defense. Yeah, the highest. I scored the highest in week 1. And I also, because I call it a masterpiece, is you have to draft Easter eggs or landmines, I call them, in my fantasy roster. So somehow I scooped Breece Hall. Dudes was ducking him because he's hurt. The guys are ducking. It's going to take him a couple weeks, but by week 6, week 7, Breece could be the lead back. Dalvin Cook gets hurt. We know Madison well because Dalvin Cook gets hurt. So if Breece gets healthy, now I got a whole nother RB1. I got Kyler Murray. If Kyler Murray comes back and they're not tanking, and Kyler Murray got something to prove, I got him on the back end. You know what I mean? So I got Easter eggs. I took Jalen Warren. If not, what's his name? I was gonna say Hines. What's dude's name? Najee Harris.
Oh yeah, Najee Harris.
He flops. I got Jalen Warren. So I got Easter eggs. So I think this is another season. I call it the perfect season. If I go 7, I think it's 17-0. I might go 17-0. Last year, I went 16-0, and I lost in the finals the year before. I lost in the finals with the Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow miracle game. Remember 3 touchdowns. Remember that 2
Yep.
seasons ago. That was my perfect season. I lost to my opponent because of that miracle.
Oh man, sorry, not sorry. All right. So I don't do fantasy football, like I was telling you, but I'm big on the survivor pools. I always do well on the survivor pools. I told you about that one I'm in. Um, I won one survivor pool like 3 straight years, but it wasn't big money. But I put in my picks yesterday. So we got 10 teams in this one pool that we're in. So the interesting thing is the way Survivor works. Like I've been in some Survivor pools where it's a one strike league, and sorry, I'm getting killed by the sun here. It's a one strike league, so you play that very differently than a no strike league. One strike, you get that loss, then you got to be conservative, right? So early on, you might gamble, take a game like yesterday. You might take the Falcons over the Panthers, not really sure where it's going to come out. Then you get that first strike, and then you got to start because you've been saving the big gun teams, right? That you know are going to be good. Mm-hmm. The one I'm in right now, it's a no strike league. So once you lose, you're out. So our 10 teams, I put in our picks yesterday. And like I said, week one is always a little crazy because you don't know what's going to happen, who's going to come out rusty, who didn't really get it together in the preseason. You know, there's a lot of things that come into play. But I put down 2 games on the Jags. We won both of those. 3 on the Niners, won both of those. 3 on the Ravens, won all those. 2 on the Commanders. So the Commanders were kind of like my riskier pick.
Yeah.
And I felt pretty good about it. Now, I mentioned Dude changed it to 2 on each of those and 2 on the Bears, and he lost us 2 teams. But I got those first 10. I'm excited to see how we do this year because I feel like, you know, as we move through it, I feel like this year there's a lot of parity in the league. And so it's not about saving those teams that you know are going to win games down the line. The Chiefs are not going to win. I mean, the Chiefs are good, but they're not dominant, especially when they start playing teams like the Chargers that, you know, can come out and play great. We don't know who the Jets are yet. We don't know who the Bengals might be now. You know, there's a lot of questions about the Dolphins, about, you know, the Bills. We'll see if they get, you know, anybody leapfrogs them. So I think there's going to be a lot of parity. I think survivor pools are going to be done early this year. You know, by week 9, I think it's going to be down to the final, 5% in most of these pools. But right now, 10 for 10. I'm going to look at my picks for next week. Get them in on time, and don't let anybody go to Vegas and forget to get the picks in. And I'm going to post them from now on so people know I'm not bullshitting, that I'm getting them right.
Yeah, you guys, I'm looking at next week. Got some locks next week. There's locks.
Yeah, usually week 2, week 3, week 4, you got some definite locks. I mean, looking at next week. The tough thing is to have week 1 have so many intra-conference games. But next week, I mean, Minnesota at Philly.
Next week they got inter-conference game. Next week they got division rivalry games. A lot of them.
Yeah, they had some this week, though, like Cleveland, Cincinnati, you know.
Cleveland Steelers is next week.
Yep. So, Dolphins. And Bengals, Ravens. But, yeah, I mean, like, Las Vegas at Buffalo, that's one that might be good but you don't want to take Buffalo that early. Seattle at Detroit's looking like a good one. You know, Chargers at Tennessee is looking good, but Tennessee always plays up to their competition. Chicago at Tampa Bay, that's one that it's like, if right now you needed to make a pick, you're definitely going with Tampa Bay based on how they looked and based on how Chicago looked. But those are 2 that could flip-flop next week. KC at Jacksonville's tough. We don't know Kelsey's status. Indy at Houston could go either way. San Francisco at the Rams, you know, Purdy could still go out and shit the bed, you know, have a bad game, and then the Rams are in it. Giants at Arizona. I think I'm still taking the Giants, even as bad as they look. Jets at Dallas is tough. Yeah. Commanders at Broncos is tough. Dolphins at Patriots. Patriots play them well. Mm-hmm. New Orleans at Carolina. I think that one's New Orleans got. and Cleveland at Pitt. I think Cleveland's got that. But I'll post them.
Maybe. Mike Tomlin's a good coach.
It's true.
Never know. You never know with Pittsburgh. You never know with that division.
All right. Well, we'll see how our picks do tonight. You got the Jets by 1, you said?
Jets by 1. Aaron Rodgers last second. Drives down the field goal, wins 27-26.
I got Jets by 4, 24-20. Aaron Rodgers leads them down the field. Doesn't leave enough time for Josh Allen to get it done.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, this week I'm going to post all of our predictions for each conference, as well as our picks for the playoffs and all end of season awards. So we'll see if we need to edit those by the beginning of week 3.
Yeah, we will.
So far, watching it today, I think we're doing okay for the most part, other than your Giants-Cowboys pick.
So,
all right, man.
Go ahead, bro. I'll see you later.
I'll see you later.
Peace.